Okay, so we are back at the unit now, and it's been a big day today, a lot of driving about. Had some bits to do on the Mercedes this morning, which you'd have seen in another video, and that was getting the wheels, but then at the same time had to go and pick up some parts for the Porsche. So what I managed to get hold of is a set of the 18-way sports seats for the Porsche Cayenne. This is a very sort of common upgrade for the 958, and I've also had it confirmed that these are a straight plug and play fitment as well, so there'll be no issues in terms of these won't need to be coded in or anything like that to allow for the extra adjustment toggles to function, and they're going to be a really good addition to the interior. Now what I also managed to pick up was a full suede or Alcantara headliner, and all the A pillars, B pillars, C pillars, all them lot to all match in, so I've got a full set. And I also managed to order some visors as well separately to this to complete that. So this weekend's mission is basically going to be to get all this into the car. I definitely should be focusing on actually finishing up the mechanics, but managing to get hold of these parts, these don't come up very often, so I just couldn't resist. I jumped on it and got them ordered. So moving back to what I've got, there are some bits and bobs that need sorting out. So there's a bit of a siggy burn there, and as I say, it needs a good clean, and some of like the marks here, just where they've been stored for a while, just need massaging out. So these hopefully will come up really nice once I've done that and put a load of leather cleaner on their treatment. It is missing one of the little airbag signs, and I've also got no crest on the headrest on this, but what I'm going to do is I've got crests on mine, so I'm going to swap these over with my ones so that I've got the Porsche crest on there. In terms of the actual airbag sign, I'll show you on the one that it is on. It's just one of those, and so I do need to try and source where I can get those from. If anyone does know where you can get them from, let us know in the comments below, please. Be very handy to know. But yeah, big upgrades for the interior. But for now, what I'm going to do, as I say, strip out this interior, get that gone, give me a chance as well just to clean all the carpet underneath the original seats, and really sort of go to town on it in the interior to clean it up. Okay, so to show you a comparison of the original seats I've got with the new ones, as you can see, a lot thinner bolsters on there, completely different pattern, like a Y stitch pattern there instead of the crossed. And the one good thing I have got on these that I want to keep and put on the new ones is the Porsche crest headrests, so definitely want to utilise them. These weren't the base model, these did have the extra comfort pack, but as you can see, they've not got the additional controls for the bolster. So yeah, they were good seats, these, if you like, but having the sports option seats with a full adjustment is just going to really improve this interior. And with these being in good condition as well, should be able to get a decent amount of money back for these to put to the interior changes. So in terms of actually getting them out, just take the chair all the way back. It's then these two black clips, one either side, and then underneath them I believe are some Torx bolts. So I'll get some tools now, flick those plastics off and start getting it out. Once those two are undone, it should be the same thing but on the rears, so all the way forwards, and I'll show you that in just a second. As you can see there, just use a bit of a another thing to remember as well is you will need to take the seat belt off. Okay, moving to the back, and it's the same sort of thing, so that just flicks up, and then you can see your spline bolt there, just to undo. Same on the other side, and then theoretically this seat should be able to come out, and it's just the cables underneath. Make sure you unplug them as well before you start trying to pull it out. Okay, so with that done, literally you'll now be able to just pull the seat back, and then you can get to all the plugs down here. So you've got one here for the airbags, and then you've also got this one here. I have been told if you unplug the airbag one, airbag light will come on, so you do need to bear in mind you'll need to reset that as well when you fit the new seats. Okay, so swapping the headrests, as you can see here, got the one with the Porsche crest from the original seats. This is just a standard one with nothing on at all. All you need to do is just underneath here is a little push-in clip. That essentially, if you push that in with a flat blade screwdriver, something like that, and then push in this, you'll be able to pull off the actual headrest. job's good un. And it's as simple as put your new one in. And there we go. That's now fully in, locked in place. And those look so much better. Okay, so first things first, let's have a real good clean out in here. Obviously we stripped the front seats out now, so you can see the carpets. These wouldn't have ever been cleaned underneath the carpet, so they're a bit minging. So we'll give it a good clean out under there. I've switched over the headrests, so these are obviously the seats that are coming out in the back, and these have got the non-emblem headrests in now with the new rear seats having the emblem on there. And then also on this one I do have the heated rear seats, so that's something I definitely want to retain. So the other thing will be, is it possible and how can I do it in terms of stripping these seats out, finding where the heater elements are and all the electrics that go to it, and then hooking that up to the new seats that will be going in, and hopefully we will retain functionality of the heated rear seats and have the sportier look of those sports seats in the back here to match the front ones. So first things first, this was really minging under here, so it's just a case of getting it as clean as possible before I started working in the actual car. And then once I've done this, I will crack on with getting the rear seats out. So that's the first side, the driver's side done, and it's looking loads better. Obviously you've got some staining there, which I'll apply some like heavier product onto at a later date, but the main thing was cleaning up underneath where the seats are going to be going back in place today, making sure that was as clean and tidy as possible. So it's come up really well, and now we'll be on to the other side. So I've been led to believe these white clips here are what actually hold the seat on, and you can actually see the electrics there at the bottom as well, the yellow. So what we'll look at doing is starting with here, and I'll try and work out, I think it's literally just going to be pushing that in to release it and then pull that up. That should get rid of the bases on both sides, and then we'll move on to the tops. Hopefully it is that simple. So it was indeed that simple, and I did actually need to use a flat blade screwdriver to get those. Just bear in mind with these clips, they are really brittle, so they are prone for snapping. Unfortunately I didn't manage to film the process of me doing this, so now just moving on to actually showing you the base of the seats as they've come out and the leather skins that I'm going to have to take off. Now with these, the reasons I'm going to have to take these off are to get access to them heater elements. I must admit, when I got to this stage here, I was debating whether I even carried on or not. I've never done this before, so taking them first few horse clips off didn't really seem to give me full access. I wasn't too sure on where the heater element sat in the seat. There's also no videos that I could personally find on YouTube, so hopefully me putting this out there now will help anyone that wants to do this in the future and sort of retrofit rear heated seats into their vehicle, or retain them if you do need to change your rear seats for whatever reason. But yeah, I thought this was a good time for me to take a break away from the seats, go and have a look at the roof lining that I was going to replace, and then come back to it a little bit later on with a clear head. Everything's looking loads better. Floor wise, nice and clean in here now. It needs a good clean all over, but I'm going to start concentrating on stripping the headlining off on all these pillars. Currently it's in black, so it's not bad, but I think going for the Alcantara trims is really just going to stand out, and when you open that door, make it look more premium. So that is the plan next. Okay, we are back at it with the seat, and I've decided to go a bit further. So good thing is this has come off. You see all the horse clips there that I've had to take off, so there's even some inners that are a bit tricky in between these heater elements. And good for me, the heater elements are part of the actual foam. So what I am going to do now, I've successfully done that, is have a look at getting the base for my single seat, the sports version, and I'll take that apart and look at swapping the foams over and go from there. Both seat covers off. As you can see here, there's a big difference in the height of the bolsters on the sides. So what I'm going to look at doing now is actually just peeling the actual heater elements off this, so it's literally just glued on. Okay, so that's the heater element itself off, so it comes basically as like a pad. There are sections like we've got here where it's kind of wrapped round, so I want to retain that. So what I'll probably look to do is get like a bit of a template for the size of that, this hole basically, create that in here, and then also what I'm going to have to do, I think, is just take some out across here, and then I'll be able to apply it with a contact adhesive and get the horse clips back in. So for now, I'm going to try and replicate these indentations onto this one, and then we'll look at applying it and see how the actual seat cover fits after that. I've now applied some contact adhesive, and we've got the heater element nicely on there. You can see there where I marked where I needed to cut, and I've cut some of the foam out so that that sits basically as it would at the height if you had just the normal seat. It's just a case of essentially posting through. Already had the hole for the heater element, posting that through, putting that in place, and this is the original, and you can see there all I've done is try to imitate that cutout at the front and at the back so that that sits in nicely as it should and should all function properly. So next step now is get the skin back on. I'm going to probably leave this one apart and apply that back onto there at a later date, because this is taking quite a lot of time, but hopefully I'm going to get these all swapped over. So I've done that one on the back seat of the two. There's only going to be one side of that that needs the heater element, but the skin will be the full piece. So again, very time consuming, and I'm assuming there'll be ones in the backrests as well. So that'll probably be my next job, to do the backrests. And then once they're all done, I can mount them back into the car, and the new seats will be in the car and the old seats in bits, but ready to basically put in the boot and take them away. Hopefully I'll be able to get them back together and get some money for them. If not, it'll just be the front seats that I sell, and I'll just chuck them in the bin. But I think it's well worth it getting the heater element in here, having the full functionality of the original car, but with the addition of having the nicer sport seat. Crack on now with getting that skin on, and I'll come back to you when it's all fully on, and we'll see how it looks, how well I can apply that, and hopefully it's not too much of a challenge. Okay, so that's the first of the seats done. That's took a lot of time, a lot more time than I actually expected it to, but it's come out really well. All the horseshoe clips back in place underneath, and obviously the wiring sticking out. So that is the first section done. Just about to put the heater matrix into this one now. Just got some contact spray adhesive here. Literally all I'll do is I'll spray the foam. I'll spray the underneath of here as well, as it was from factory, and plonk that on. As you can see here, I've just cut some of the foam out to match the original where it already had this seated, and that'll slot in nicely, and as I say, the hole is already there for it for these plugs anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad at all. Right, so I've got the bases done on all the heater elements moved over and fitted in there. Now moving on to the uprights of the bench seats at the back. Now what you want to do with these is pull these spline bolts out at the back, and I believe once that's 3, the whole railings will be free. So I'm going to give that a go now and see what movement I've got. So along with those splines at the back, you've also got the spline bolts at the front as well. So with the lever that you have on the Porsches, you can just lever forwards to get access to the back ones, lever, push it all the way backwards then to get access to these front ones, and that should be everything I need then. Let's take this whole thing out as one. Okay, so with the back seats out and a lot more room in this car now, what I'm going to focus on is trying to get the headlining out. So the aim is to do this while I've got as much room as I have got here. Then I'll start putting the back seats back in, then the front seats will go back in, and hopefully by the end of play today I'll have a full interior with the upgrades of the Alcantara headlining and the sport finish seats. Okay, so with the uprights out, what I'm going to do now is just do a quick time lapse to show you the whole process from start to finish, from stripping the skins off, removing the heater elements, fitting the heater elements, and then retrimming the actual seat itself. So hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so that's a good, I'd say 3-4 days. A few of them being long evenings after work. But in terms of what I've got out of it, the seats are now all in, as well as the headlining. And it's a massive difference to the interior, so I'm going to show you now. Hopefully I remembered to capture some of the interior before I did this. I can't remember off the top of my head whether I did. But if I have, I'll try and show you sort of a quick lapse of a before and after. And I think it's made a massive difference to this interior. It's a lot more premium now, a lot more sporty looking, as a Porsche should be. Yeah, well impressed with this and well worth the effort. So here we are, and it's the full sport interior now. Now these seats do need some attention, some TLC. They've obviously been sat for a while, so I did need to rush to get them in, but the plan is definitely to give them a lot of leather treatment, some massaging as well to get the foams back to where they should be. And the only imperfection I don't think I'm going to get out is just this one here. But for the transformation it's made, I think it's massive difference. You've got the full adjustment now on the seat, so the extra 2 buttons are the adjustment for the bolsters at the base and at the tops. So really comfy seat. Managed as well to retain the Porsche emblems in the headrests. Nice easy one that was. And then moving on as well to the headlining. So we've now got the full Alcantara headlining in here. And moving on to the back, as you've just seen, my final sort of retrofit was the back seats, but then having the addition on the back seats of the heater. I wanted to keep that functionality, and I've managed to do that in both the bases and the tops. So not only have I got the better looking back seats, comfier back seats, but they've still retained that heating function. And of course the Porsche emblem. Really impressed with how this has turned out. Really happy. I think it looks superb in here now, and it's just one of the sort of retrofits that I want to do with this Porsche to really make it basically as premium as possible and give it as many options as pretty much you could have got from the factory. So the next one for the interior will probably be the chrono clock on the center of the dash. Certainly want that. And I'm also going to do the obvious, the CarPlay I'll do as well. Now I'm debating doing a full screen CarPlay. That will look better, but then I've got in the back of my head as well that to retain the full functionality of the original, do I just do the one where it's a chip in the back, so it goes between the 2 drives, and so you'd have the CarPlay option, but then also the standard Porsche option, like I've done in the SL, a bit of a back doorway into it where you've retained the standard screen, but then you have the option to press and hold a button and it goes into the CarPlay option. Anyway, I'll stop rattling on, and that is basically it for this car now at the unit. So we'll be moving it out of here this weekend, and as I say, I was really keen to get that interior done beforehand, and then the next stages will be bodywork, I guess. That being said, we still do have the mechanical issues at the front. We've not resolved them yet. So what I did find, we've currently just chucked the rad pack on just to get the oil coolers on there, so that when we do fire it up for loading, we don't have an explosion of oil and we can run it up safely. I'm not going to put any water in it because it's literally just going to be loaded onto a trailer and moved. So yeah, the radiators are in there. We're not filling any coolant or anything like that. It's not going to get warm enough to affect the engine. So what we did find is, yep, I've got the replacement for this belt, I've got the replacement for this pipe where it's the belt's been wearing into it when it was pushed backwards. There's also a few marks on this belt at the back, like the ancillary belt, I'd imagine it would be called. You can just about see the fraying there. So that's something that I hadn't previously noted, but I definitely want to get that changed. So I'll be changing both these belts now, and I don't believe there's actually any other issues down here when we've looked at it. So it's literally going to be the 2 belts to be changed, and as I say, that pipe as well there. Once that's done, I'll then be happy enough to fully plumb in the rad pack. And then what we'll also have to do is, we've just got this sort of structural damage here, so this basically needs pulling out. So you can see here there's a little bit of a kink there. on that. This is a lot further back, if you can see there, to this one. See, this one is miles further forwards. So it's a case of getting measurements off this side and measuring this one for it to be equal. Obviously we've got all the bits and bobs in terms of the front sections that will mount to this, so only when they line up perfectly we would be happy with the position of that. And then also we've got the headlight placement as well, so it'll be a new headlight bracket on that side as well, and only when that fits correctly we would be happy that that's in the correct position, and then can we go forward with actually putting together the front structure here that sits behind the actual front bumper. Got a load of parts from Porsche now that I didn't get with this rad pack, so we've got all those. They're all brand new Porsche parts, they're ready to go and be bolted on. Once that's all done, then we do move to the exciting stuff, which is the kit and the transformation for this car. So I've got something very special lined up for this, and I'll really look forward to sort of showing you guys what that is, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at the minute. So it's going to be probably a few weeks now until we get onto the mechanical side. We'll get the mechanical side done, and then it'll probably be another good few weeks waiting for the package to arrive with all the body panels, and then the fun starts. So yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, it really help us out. And also chuck a comment in, what would you like to see from this Porsche? I have got some wheels that I'm eyeing up at the minute as well. I'll just show you the ones that are on here. They're really nice, 21 inch, so they are a nice wheel, but I'm looking at some 22s. But yeah, what would you go for? Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next one.